Welcome to our second Hamburgers and Higher Education Luncheon. I'm Scott Martinez with the Hutto Economic Development Corporation. Today we're going to hear about external funding opportunities and support that Temple College and Texas State Technical College utilize to enhance their student life and academic programs, as well as get a construction update on the campus progress of the Hutto facility. So I'm going to start with Rob Williamson from Texas State Technical College, Waco, to hear a construction update.
Thank you, Scott. I actually don't have a construction update for you myself. I'm going to introduce you to a couple of folks that the college has. One on site here at Hutto permanently, and one that's on staff at Waco that's here right now at least once a week and sometimes more than once a week, and let them give you a little bit of update on what's happened to date, where we're at on construction schedule, and some things that you could be looking for in the next few weeks, next month or so. Brian Pollard. Brian is the Director of Facilities Construction and Planning for TSTC. He's actually based out of Waco, but is spending at least one day a week here for now, and probably that'll escalate as we go forward. And then Cole Woodard. Cole is the construction manager for EWCHEC. He's stationed here full-time, locally, lives here locally, and is overseeing day-to-day operations of the construction project for us. So, Brian, I'll let you give a little bit of an update on where we're at with construction and what they can look for.
I was only here to introduce Cole. He's he's the on-site guy. And I'm here once a week. He has a little more in touch with what's going on out there, so I'll hand it off to him.
Well, as most of you know, we started the project in mid-June, actually broke ground, and displaced quite a lot of dirt in a short time. If you've driven by the site, you've no doubt seen it. We've designated it Mount Hutto, and believe it or not, the view on top of that is pretty good. You can see a lot of things you don't see at ground level. The summer months, we've completed our site work. Our site utilities, gas, water, storm drains, sanitary sewer are all in place. So we had some good fortune. Had a couple of wet days back in July, but otherwise no real problems. We've progressed to the first floor slabs and have our first one in place. The next one is scheduled to be poured tomorrow, and ultimately, looking ahead, we should have all of our concrete slabs in place by the end of the month. That'll lead us into October. I believe the first week of October we're scheduled to get our first structural steel pieces to the site and get those up. And personally, that's my favorite part of the project. Once your steel goes up, your building rapidly begins to take shape. You get to see really what you're going to have there. Everyone will also be aware of the project, whereas they may not be right now. Once the steel columns are set and you get a little bit of height, that will generate a lot of interest, so we're excited for that. And beyond that, we're progressing nicely. I'm very pleased with the contractor at this point, Bartlett Koch. They seem to push the project, and right now we're a little bit ahead of schedule. And knowing the guys that have come to know them, I believe we'll probably gain a little more in the coming months. So we're on track, and hopefully we'll start getting more of the building up. It'll start progressing, and that's about all I have. If there are any questions, I'll be glad to field them.
Are we going to see more construction workers out there when we start going vertical with the project? I know there's a pretty good crew out there now.
There is. Ultimately, Scott, when you have the masonry, when you start seeing the masonry go up and the interior walls, that will probably be the height of the workforce. out there. And so yes and no. I mean, you trade off some of the concrete workers for the steel workers, but ultimately, I would say November, December, you'll see quite a few guys out there, and then it'll gradually increase to the first part of the year, and then ultimately it'll decrease as we get closer to completion. But probably at a height, if I had to guess, there'll be probably 100 or maybe a little more workers out there at one time. Yes, sir.
How much dirt was displaced, and will it be used back into the site?
At this time, we have quite a stockpile there. So the answer is no. We don't have plans to put it back into this project. I couldn't tell you how much, but thousands and thousands of cubic yards.
I think Jimmy told me it was 5,500 cubic yards. That's what Jimmy knows.
Quite a bit. Yes,
I was
sir.
just wondering, how are things going along according to plan? Usually the deviation changes according to the initial blueprints and plans.
At this time, we've had a couple of slight changes, but nothing major. I had a couple of facade changes, but nothing.
What kind of changes?
Facade for the,
Okay, facade, okay.
for the exterior walls,
Got it.
masonry, but nothing that jumps out at you. It's pretty much what you see in your brochures. It's gonna look almost exactly like that. So we've had no major changes to this point. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Next up is Jennifer Graham with the Temple College Foundation. Jennifer has done presentations at Hutto quite a bit. It's good having you here today, Jennifer.
I want to talk to you just a little bit about the programs that the foundation does to support students. We call it our Pride Program of Support. We've got a number of elements that we think are pretty innovative and pretty exciting. We're going to speed through this pretty quickly. Go ahead, Peter. Thanks. Great. Keep going. Our first program, which is what I came to Hutto the very first time to speak about, was our Leopard Loan Program. We really considered this assistance with accountability. And what we had an issue with was students that were trying to meet payment deadlines for tuition and books and that sort of thing, and couldn't get there in time. And so they were ending up missing entire semesters because they were a month short on paychecks trying to get their tuition paid for. It started with dual credit, and we had an issue with a school that had been supporting dual credit with some supplemental funding, and then because of their shortages, they had to pull back that funding, and we started getting phone calls from parents saying, what am I going to do? How do I get my kid to be able to continue second semester? And we said, let's rush and try and find something. And so I speak to the table in the back and tell you that we went to the city of Temple, and we said, how can you help the residents of Temple? I need $5,000 that I can just loan out. It'll come back to us and we'll recycle it. I'll never come back to you for more money. Just give me this $5,000 to start with. We started with that $5,000, kept those students in their dual credit classes, and what we found is it was not only a successful program, it was an incredibly successful program. We had students who are getting their loans paid back within that semester time. They automatically become eligible again for another loan the next semester. It's saving parents that need to go out and try and finance this. The loans are zero interest, zero fees. It's a very simple application. And the money comes back to us. Right now we are boasting a 100% return rate. And if I've got any bankers in the room, I would ask you if you can boast that. But I have something better than credit. I have credit that I can withhold. Instead of affecting their actual credit rating, we've put a hold on their grades and their credits if they don't pay back. So they can't get their transcripts, they can't register for more classes, and that's their ultimate goal. So we tend to be the bill that gets paid back. So this recycled money started with that $5,000 from the city and has, Hutto has come in with $5,000 for your students. We've got 2 loans that came in last week from Hutto students, 2 loan applications that came in from Hutto students last week. Taylor, Temple College at Taylor Foundation has come in with $5,000. We've had additional donors that have been matching those, and we are now, as of Tuesday afternoon, at $148,000 in leopard loan funds. So, to the school folks, I would urge you, make sure that your principals and your counselors and your administrators know about this program. It's a simple application. They fill it out online. We get back to them usually within a week, and they're able to get this taken care of. Let's move forwards. The next program we have, we've just started, and we're really excited about this. We are really looking at ways to invest in people. As opposed to just building bricks and mortar projects, we want to fund the folks that are entering those bricks and mortar projects. And so we've called it Proven Scholars, and our goal is to attract high-achieving, elite students to the college. We want those students to feel like this is home, this is where they belong, this is who takes care of them, and this is a way to build our workforce with the kinds of folks that we need for the sorts of industries that we're trying to develop. And so what we've done is we've asked for 4.0 students to go ahead and apply for this scholarship, and you can kind of work through this with me, Robin. They come in, and we found that we had 142 students at any given time who had achieved a 4.0 scholarship. We looked at graduation, and in that graduating class, how many of them still had that 4.0? 5. What's happening in between? And life happens in between. It's the second job that you've got to get because you can't afford all of your bills, it's your family, etc. Terrace Lasoya is probably our poster child for 4.0 students. She's a young lady who was an international baccalaureate student at Temple High School. She was a 4.0 student at the high school. She was highly recruited as a basketball player at A&M and a couple of other schools outside of the state. And she said, really, I'm not here to pursue basketball. I've got bad knees, and that's not what's going to get me through. I want a medical degree. I want to be a doctor. So she passed up all of her scholarships and got accepted to University of Missouri at Kansas City. They're a very elite medical program, and it's one of those really, not only elite, but kind of avant-garde where you start medical school as a freshman. Got over there, left home for the first time, and realized, holy moly, it's different being a little fish in a big pond. And that was a huge transition for her, and she didn't make it. And after the first year, she came home. Ended up marrying her high school boyfriend and has set up shop and is doing very well, started back at Temple College. Is a 4.0 student at Temple College, and her bragging rights are that I was pregnant and gave birth with a 4.0. And she says that I want to continue that, but we as a family had to pay a price for that. She did not qualify for grants. Her parents are both teachers. They make just enough money for her to not qualify for some of that state and federal funding. And so it was, we got to work. Well, trying to work and be pregnant and give birth and keep your 4.0 wasn't happening. So her husband dropped out of school, and he is working full-time, 2 jobs, in order to support their family and in order for her to stay in school without having to take out loans and without having to keep a job. Still not easy, but her goal is, I want to finish this with a 4.0. We said, what do we do to help students like Terrace that aren't getting those Pell Grants and those funding options? Go ahead and click for me. We look at, and keep going, we keep looking at that idea of attracting those top-tier students, keeping them connected to our college, connected to our community, and continuing to solidify our reputation as a university preparatory program, a career preparatory program where you are coming here to be able to make a better life. Okay? The question keeps coming up. 4.0 students, they don't need help. 4.0 students, they're the ones that get all of the scholarships. And it's just not true. It just isn't true. There is more money giving out in athletic scholarships than there is in academic scholarships. For the foundation, for our particular scholarships, my endowments, I have nothing. I have nothing for a high-functioning student. I have a whole lot of money available in scholarships for students who already qualify for financial aid, demonstrate financial need, and who are at that 2 to 3.0 grade point average. I've got lots of money for them. I've got money for students who are musicians, and I've got money for students who are athletes. I've got some money for students who are in healthcare professions because the main campus has such a strong focus there, but I have nothing for that elite student. It's going to be very hard for them to qualify for any of my scholarships. And then we ask the question, well, why a 4.0? Isn't that an awfully high bar? It is a high bar, but we said, I'm looking to fund 20 students a year. And I told you that initial number when we said how many are there, there was 142. So it can be done, it's being done, it's out there, it's happening. And then we said, you know, what you tend to hear is people say, a 4.0 all the way through, almost unattainable, and really it's not that big a deal. But it's all of us who didn't get the 4.0 that say it's not a big deal. We're the ones that say, you know, that 1B, that's not going to hurt you, and in 20 years from now it's not going to make a difference, and really the college that you're getting into isn't going to look at that. You know what? If you had that 4.0, I promise it would be on your resume. I promise it's what I look at when I'm an employer. When I see a 3.89, I think high functioning student, great. Probably really well-rounded as well. When I see a 4.0, I want to meet you. I want to know who you are. And that's going to happen to our students. So these were these numbers I shared with you before. You can move on, Robin. So we looked at who are these students that qualify. And you know that one of the issues that as a college we look at is we need students to complete. It's not enough to come, take a class, get a 4.0 and be gone. We need you to complete. We need you to get through developmental ed, we need you to move on to the credit classes, and we need you to complete. And we think this is a super group of students to get them to say, let me make Temple College home. Let me start with dual credit, what a fabulous opportunity that is for our students, where they begin college and high school. Let's get them to completing those 42 credits. They maintain that 4.0 all the way through, and they complete all their registered classes. We find students play that game where I'll register for 5, I'll pass 3, and as soon as 1 starts to drop, I drop the class. We want you to complete the classes that you registered. Take a full load and finish it. So we are looking at this as a reimbursement program, and we're calling it Proven Scholars because they've got to prove themselves. You get paid back for your tuition, your books, etc., after you've gotten your 4.0. So your first semester, come in and prove it to us. Show us who you are, show us what you've got. Keep it up and we keep paying you back. The next thing that happens is we want to follow you. We want you to know that we care beyond Temple College. Go on to that university and get that bachelor's degree. Your scholarship will continue with you. What are we offering them? We're offering them 100% tuition, 100% of their books, and a housing allowance at the University Courtyard Apartments for the Temple main campus students. We'll send that money on to whatever university you go to as long as it's within the state and it's one of our accredited universities. What a way to build loyalty for our students and for them to know this is where you come home to. This is who takes care of you. This is where we want you back. So I kind of already talked about the differences. We're basing the award on performance. We're making sure that they continue that high level of performance. And I keep getting asked, well, what about that one kid that gets the B? What do you do with them? They don't get their reimbursement for that semester, but they're back in the program the following semester as long as they continue and come back. We're not going to drop them and say, sorry, you lose. We want them to stay as long as they can, but they've got to reach that 4.0. That's the only way we can make sure we're getting the number of students that we can actually afford to do. Keep going. When people ask me, so how do you make your money? We have donors. We use events. We have a golf tournament that's coming up a week from Monday, And we have a Kings of Cuisine event where we have chefs come out from around the city, cook for us, and we tip them, tips in their jars. Dr. Williams' husband was one of our chefs last year. Actually, all the boys in her family were one of our chefs last year.
Make sure they know these aren't professional chefs.
These are not professional. Well, Dr. Barrett's husband is the boys in her family. These are really, it's our city manager, it's our mayor, it's our city attorney, it's our hotel owner, but no, these are not chefs. These are gentlemen that have the dish that they make, and I'm going to tell you the fun part of it. They come out and they cook for you, you buy your ticket, and they end up, tricking you or bribing you to get tips in their jar, because that's how they win, is with their tips. So my favorite story is our chamber president makes a corn casserole, and if you tip him, you get a shot of corn whiskey. So it's all about the gimmick. And this was our winning chef last year. We also do a cruise every year, and this is the most fun way to earn money in the whole wide world. We sponsor a cruise. We get an absolutely great rock bottom price on a cruise. We pass that same rock bottom price on to all of our guests. We cruise together, and it's the company that pays us in order to market and get those cruises put together. First year we went down from Galveston, last year we did Alaska, and we're talking about Panama Canal this year. So we would, again, welcome any of you on our cruise, and it's just a fun way. We get whole families that go together, and it's an absolute blast. We guarantee you the best price. We do lots of fun services for you and make the cruise extra special. We had 70 people in our first cruise, so it was just a terrific event. And I'm going to end with a video that we have created that kind of tells you a little bit about the scope and where we're going and what our needs are. I've left you information in your packets about levered loans, about proven scholars. Terrace's story is in there. We have our annual newsletter that we've just published, and that's in there, as well as our knowledge book, we call it, and that's sort of like our annual report. It gives you information about the foundation and the college. You're great, Erin. Go ahead.
Every student matters.
Every student matters.
Every student who attends Temple College matters.
The education at Temple College changes lives.
Temple College provides opportunity.
For career advancement.
For certification.
For transfer credit.
For corporate training.
For degree programs.
For dual credit.
For a new start.
Temple College gives me the chance to prove that I can do it.
I can do it.
The Temple College Foundation is the key to accessing these opportunities.
We make sure money isn't the barrier to getting an education.
We provide
no interest,
no fee,
loans.
Leopard loans are repaid each semester, allowing students to spread out their fees for tuition, books, housing over time.
We offer
more than 250 scholarships each year.
That's 250.
250.
250.
250 students that get help paying for one or more classes each year.
We offer
employment,
internships,
volunteers opportunities
for students to improve their skills,
develop the network,
and give back to their community.
We're the Temple College Foundation,
a group of professors,
administrators,
and staff members
who care.
More than 6,000 students call Temple College home.
We are a community college.
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 We are here for the community.
Governed by the community.
Governed by the community.
And connected to the community.
And connected to the community.
We are all about the community.
We are the community.
Ours is a college town.
With leopard pride.
Leopard pride.
Pride.
We know the impact we make is not just on the individuals in our classrooms.
We make a difference in our community.
The improved quality of life for our students
translates to improvements
for their families,
their children,
the local economy,
the labor pool, the next generation.
When we seek support,
we have to prove our worth,
our value,
our commitment.
We have to prove we care.
We need 100%.
100%.
100%.
100% of our faculty.
Our board of directors.
Our staff.
Our administration.
To put their dollars where their hearts are.
Everyone has something to give.
I can give $1 a month for leopard loans.
I give $10 a month for scholarships.
I want to give $1 a day to pay for one class.
I will give $350 a year to keep a student in school.
I've given $50 to help pay for a book.
I can help with just $10.
My $350 a year is one less soda for me and a whole class for someone else.
I have given more than $10,000 because education counts.
Every student needs everyone's help. We are the Temple College Foundation.
We are the Temple College Foundation.
We believe every student matters.
And we make the difference.
So to kind of finish up, I would just want to say that there's opportunities to give, and there's big and small opportunities. I've put a pledge card in your folder so that if you'd like to take that opportunity, you're welcome to do it today. I'd also like to mention Debbie Holland is one of our newer board members. She's been with us for 2 years now? Year and a half? 1 year? Okay. Been with us for a year, and it was really important to us that as Hutto grew and as our educational complex grew here, that we had representation from Hutto on our board, so that she is hearing what's happening and she's able to help us to move forwards. She was the first one to bring us to the Lions Club, and that was where we got our initial $5,000 for levered loans for our Hutto students, and that's just been tremendous. So thank you, and if there's questions after the entire program, I would be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. As you can tell, the community is already involved with Mayor Holland serving on the board and with the Hutto Lions Club providing that initial funding for the leopard loan program here in Hutto. Next up is Ms. Carlos Hyde with the TSTC Institutional Advancement. Is that right?
That's it. I'll take it. Whatever.
South
If
Foundation.
I'm going to act like the other people from TSTC, I'll just introduce somebody else that'll give my presentation. They said you'll have a little remote thingy, but I like to kind of pointing at something in my way. Well, I hope I'm smart enough to do this. As it says here, I'm the VP for Institutional Advancement. TSTC, as you know or have heard, is part of a statewide system. So our foundation is housed at our system office, and each of the campuses has an office or a division that's focused on development, and mine is that one. Remind me later. Okay? I don't know what button to push. I will remind it later. It's doing that on its own. See, technology is so cool. These are the offerings that we're going to be having at Hutto. And when I was thinking through this presentation, I just thought, I'll give you a little window into how TSTC works and who we are, and kind of look inside us and see how we work. So these are the programs that we're going to be offering there to start. Now, if we were to revisit this location in another 3 years, this list might look completely different, because our offerings are going to respond to what your community needs. As industry grows and as economic development continues here, this list may look very different in the future. Right now, we already have, with our building just and our giant dirt pile and everything that we heard about today underway and the various locations we're in, we already have partners in the area. And I thought I'd give you, courtesy of Fred Cozine, who's here today, a little list of the people who are helping us out already. Discounted pricing is an easy thing to give. Technology is very expensive. Having a college with only science programs is the way to look at it. It's just very expensive to do. The infrastructure is hard to pay for. Scott and White has helped us out already with internships and co-ops for our mechanical students. Construction company helping with additional co-ops. And a co-op is just a paid internship where our students don't just do job shadowing, but they actually work for you in a company, and then our faculty will come and check on how they're doing, and we continue to train the student in the workplace that way. Gulf Coast Paper provided us a link to another organization for networking for our students and faculty. And you may say, well, that's not really giving. Oh, yes, that is a big gift, because you never know who you're going to meet, and those relationships help our students get placed, help us find donors. It's just a very positive thing. We have additional companies here that are helping us. If you look at Johnston Supply and providing us technical expertise, when you buy big technical equipment, a lot of times that equipment comes with training. One of our programs in Waco features Haas equipment for multi-axis machining. When they swap out those pieces of equipment, big $100,000 machines, the Haas representative comes in, trains our faculty and our students on the use of that. So you're right out there on the edge of what's really happening in the real world for our students when they go to work. So that's very nice. And this North American Insulation Manufacturers Association actually loaned us a machine to use in our air conditioning program there. So those are all currently already people that are helping us. These are the 6 ways that we focus on for people and organizations to give to us. Obviously, scholarships. The Temple College presentation on scholarships was so good because you have no idea how much $100 or $200 can help when that person a person might make a decision to drop out because they don't have that money. Becky Musel, who's here, runs a scholarship program done by a local foundation that is focused on students that are almost through and about to make that choice. I can't make it if I don't have $100 or whatever, and that scholarship program provides that for that person. Some of the companies we work with elect to do sponsorships. And the way those work is, those companies get very, very involved. Luminant is a corporation that does a lot of those with us in Waco, and we're already talking to them about EWCHEC and our Hutto site. They're very interested. And what they do is they come in and interview students. They have to be in their 2nd year, have a certain GPA and so forth. They interview them. They give them some exams that are used in the energy industry. Then they sponsor them for the rest of they pay their whole bill for the rest of their education, give them a co-op in the middle, and hire them when they graduate. Well, you can't get much of a better deal than that. That is an awesome program. And so we're looking for companies to do those. You can do like Luminant and do 10 or 20 of them, or you can do like ABC Supplies somewhere and do 1 if that's all the employees you need. But then you're guaranteed to, number 1, invest in your person before he ever comes to work for you, and number 2, get to know him and see if you actually do want him to come to work for you. So that's all good. The equipment we've talked about just a little bit. I can't stress enough how costly it is to provide training that is all technical. It is so expensive to do, for example, welding or automotive, or if we didn't have partners like we do in our automotive programs, we wouldn't have the labs we have that provide these state-of-the-art facilities. So the gift of equipment is a very, very big gift. So we focus on those kinds of things. The other thing about an equipment gift is it gives an opportunity for a company to speak into the program and say, we really want you to train on this type of PLC because that's what we sell or use or whatever. And that company kind of gets a stake in your community that way. So in this, that's very tied to economic development, corporate recruitment to this area and stuff like that. Service on our advisory committee, we consider that a gift. The time of people to come in from all over the state or even further away. We have on some of our advisory boards people from the national labs that come in to spend their time to travel and spend a day looking at our curriculum, looking at our labs, helping us find donors, hiring our graduates. That's a big deal for us. The Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board governs our curriculum just like any other 2-year school. But that corporate advisory board, that's where our heart is, because they tell us exactly who we need to be to serve them out in the community, and that's going to be out in your community. Naming opportunities in labs and classrooms, companies like to have their name featured prominently so that students are aware. You know, our students leave and go out into the industry working, perhaps buying and selling that particular test equipment or construction equipment or whatever, and companies like to make that kind of gift. Those gifts are really great because it's a $50,000 gift to name a lab, and that cash goes directly to the department. And the department then can use that as discretionary money to meet their own needs. We have some naming opportunities in the new Hutto facility, and you are all and your neighbors going to hear about these until you run away when you see me coming as the months go forward. So we have a couple of significant labs in our HVAC program, one commercial, one residential. We have the culinary arts labs. Those are my personal favorite, and I will give you Elton's quote because he's not here. As long as TSTC has a culinary program, we will never have a skinny president. That's what he said. We'll just call on the spirit, channel Elton there just for a minute. And I can actually do the voice too, but I'm not going to. I know y'all would blab, and then I'd get in trouble. These are larger labs where there are naming opportunities, and these are areas where a company may think, we really want to hire these people. And this is going to be new in this area, but we have programs at Waco where we replace 3 and 4 times as many people as we graduate. By the time we get to a job fair, the people that are coming to the job fair, the students are like freshmen. They just got there because the other ones are all employed. So what companies like to do is find as many ways they can to get their name in front of these kids so that they might consider going to work for that company. That's another thing that's behind the Luminant gift. The t-shirts, the backpacks, the little bracelets they like to wear now, all these things they get, pizza lunches and everything else, Luminant, Luminant, Luminant. Because when that I&E graduate gets out, he's going to get 5 job offers. Well, they want him to pick the Luminant job offer. So, and naming labs is another way to do that. And of course we have classrooms as well. We have equipment needs all the time. And if you are a person who buys equipment or deals in equipment, you can just start letting a calculator run through your mind at the cost there is associated with offering these kinds of training programs. Our training programs do not feature a film of how a lathe works or a little desktop model of a pipe cutting machine or something like that. It's huge industrial equipment, and it's very, very expensive. And we pursue a lot of state and federal grants to try to help purchase that equipment. We get a lot of it donated by our corporate partners without whom we really could not function. And hopefully we'll be getting a lot of this donated by companies in the Williamson County area that are concerned about what we do and the caliber of the education and more equipment needs. And these, of course, evolve as programs go on. An advisory committee meeting at our Waco campus is really an interesting thing to sit in on. It'll go all day long, the good ones. The bad ones are not so interesting, but we won't talk about those because, of course, we don't have any bad ones, do we, Rob? We only have the great kind. That's right. I forgot. What am I saying? So, anyway, so you go to a good advisory committee, and you have this very powerful set of people from industry critiquing your labs, critiquing the equipment you're using. Do we switch from analog to digital yet? Do we need to change what we use in this class or that class? And at the end of the day, a good department chair is going to pass around a list, and the list is, here's the equipment we need to do everything you told us we need to do to serve you. Who's going to give it to me? And I will tell you, they just give and give and give. It's unbelievable how much they give. So these are some of the equipment needs that will be happening. In terms of development activities, we are already planning. As the Hutto site goes up, you're going to start seeing many more of these events at Dell Diamond, the baseball games. Those are good for us to do and to raise money. Advisory lunches where we actually approach our partners that we already have about giving to all those things and helping us meet other people to reach out to. Alumni events. And you may say, well, you don't really have any alumni. Well, we've got 5 now. I watched them walk across the stage last week. I'm going to tap them for some dough this week. No, it's we have 44,000 alumni, 45,000 alumni from the college already. Some of them are from Williamson County. Some of them are from this region. And we're going to be reaching out to them and asking them to come home and talk to you about what their experience has been with the degrees they got at TSTC. Kind of had an interesting thing. In the last month or so at work, Elton got a call, Baylor's building this big new stadium. They had that winning season, it just went straight to their head, and they are building a big stadium. And the superintendent for that build is a TSTC graduate. And it was just so interesting the way that worked out. He'll be speaking at graduation next year. So very nice for the Waco community to have that. Well, that's the kind of thing that we want to transplant here. So we want those graduates to come home and talk to you and your colleagues and your children and grandchildren about that. So you can watch for these. Our normal pattern of event at work at Waco is In the fall, we have a large scholarship donor event. In the spring, we have equipment donor events. And so you'll be hearing about those also here. My contact information is here. It's also in the flyer that's there at your place setting with a pledge card and an envelope, of course. As has already been said, we're happy to hear from you. But if you just want to talk further about other ways to get involved, or you know somebody you think would be interested, please don't hesitate to call me. My contact information is in the last page of that brochure as well. And I will talk at the drop of a hat, and but I do know when to stop, and that would be right now. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I give this back to you. I have to turn in my toy. Thanks.
You have to come back. Thank you so much. And Carlos has been active in the Hutto community with former Commissioner Frankie Lemmer in raising funds, and that effort continues on TSDC's behalf. Well, that concludes our program for today. I'll tell you all to keep this informal. We're going to put this video up on YouTube for people in the community that may have an interest in this and make that available. So until our next meeting, which will probably be after the first of the year, we're adjourned.
Please edit out the comment about the skinny president.
Thank you.